everyone, I'm back with you with part 2 today. So in this one I'm going to talk about the Indigo type 3, just the type 3, not the 1 and 2, just the 3, because of they're mostly prone to polarity issues that it's relevant to talking about today, but also talking about Caduceus and healing solutions. So type 3, they're most prone to the polarity issues, like I said, but they're part of an Oraphim Nephilim hybridization program to which ancient Nephilims, and Nephilims are actually, they come from angelic humans, the cloister humans, seeded in seeding 2 and Anunnaki combination codes. So they're race of Anunnaki giant cloister humans that were banned from Earth in the second seeding. They're provided with a new race line to evolve within in order to clear their fire letter DNA distortions, so their codes of ascension can be regained. The type 3 Indigos, they have an Oraphim 24-strand double diamond, and they have an 11-strand reverse Templar Sun DNA matrix, so that gives them a maximum potential of 12-strand diamond sun DNA matrix. Indigo 3s are literal incarnations of 2 different avatars in one body, an Oraphim avatar overseeing the Nephilim avatar spirit essence. By the way, the Nephilim race has been trapped between harmonic 1 and density and Dimension 11 manifestation cycles for so many thousands of years due to the fire letter reversals and DNA distortions from the Anunnaki lines. The core of their life purpose is to mend the extremes of the polarities between the reversal 11-strand DNA matrix and 12-strand potential, but their lifetime they serve an important role in the greater plan of healing that the DNA distortions within the Nephilim, Anunnaki and the human genetic lines. So doing a huge service, the Indigo 3s. The Indigo 3 Indigo recessives have the most extremes and polarity issues of all Indigos. They're highly intelligent, they're mathematically inclined, and they're athletic. They may have difficulty with emotional bonding issues. They may seem like devil and angel in one body. Now, the thing with Indigos 3 is their Nephilim side must agree to function in subservience to the Oraphim avatar, which is good. Oraphims are positively oriented. Until the Nephilim regains the D12 fire letters, which will allow them to connect with the Rishi collective, basically. So they're made to experience the frequencies of love, genuine bonding, compassion, for other life forms. Indigo recessive have the most difficulty in balancing that polarity consciousness due to the reverse Nephilim fire letters. So they're vulnerable to obsessive compulsive disorders, bipolar disorders, extreme polarity, extreme perspectives, and things like that. The polarity extremes in the personality of a type 3 often lead to self-destructive behaviors, substance abuse, addictions, and they identify themselves with these behaviors, these habits and patterns, because they want to numb how they feel. It's like a constant thing that rips in them. It's a constant conflict and an apprehension of the Nephilim avatar identity that's trying to overrun the identity of the Oraphim avatar to assert its dominance. And most cases of autism, as we know from the freedom teachings, occur in Indigo 3 types as a result of the Oraphim avatar unplugging some of the Nephilim DNA codes to retain control over the body. Ideally, the 2 avatars, they share a body and personality structure. They work to balance polarity in DNA. This is a conscious personality usually feels stuck in the middle of an internal battle. It cannot comprehend and experiences great fear, apprehension, depression, chemical imbalances, and genetic disharmony. And so Indigo 3s have very interesting and noble timeline as they choose to incarnate here to assist in creation of a new race line through which an ancient race can re-evolve back into the light. They're doing great service for both Nephilim and a human lineage in terms of realigning the Anunnaki genetic distortions in both races. Why is this important? It's important because this is what fallen matrix beings have to do in order to regain the D12 fire letters, to rejoin the respective Rishi collective. So Indigo 3s are hosts to these fallen beings. The ones who host the fallen ones are the Oriphims, because Christic intention is to help everyone re-evolve, no matter how deep they fell. So Christics act as per Source's original intention, Christics act with unconditional love. If you have an Orifim DNA code, you act with some level of deep love and sympathy. And it may be hard to love and accept these beings due to their actions. Case in point, living systems don't advocate death. They only evolution and re-evolution, and that's precisely how to distinguish a being who is from the fallen matrix versus an eternal life matrix. There are the teams who assist jeopardize universes, galaxies, and planets re-evolve their 0 to 12 Christic divine blueprint shield template to create immunity to the net, so natural free will evolution can be regained. SWAT team members, they're natural Stargate and portal guardians, and also serve as net guardians, assisting in healing the shadow body, so natural evolution through the genuine spiritual integration of higher dimensional identity can occur. So SWAT teams watch over humans now to help protect them from like fallen angelics from the net field and net interferences, especially in dream state. And as a 0 to 3 mental body begins expansion into the density 1 void, that's when they intervene in the astral awakening. They assist Earth humans in safe biological transition and ascension through stargates. They work with spiritual identities of humans who actually die Bardoa, and they go into Bardoa transition. They help the mental body ego leave physical body and make sure transition into a radial body, into natural astral body, not the artificial astral body, to continue evolution after review of previous life experiences. They also assist beings incarnating into net danger zones, like Earth has been a net danger zone since 25,500 BCE, to make a safe travel or a safe passage into the fetal integration into a new baby body. So black hole beings don't overpower the incoming soul with the net to take forced possession of the fetus. Contemporary indigo children types 1 and 2 are actually the incarnating SWAT team here to assist Earth in the stellar activation cycle from 2000 to 2017. Okay, so that's the Indigo 3 type. So I just had to add that in because it's very relevant. It's really important to know that these beings are hosts for the fallen races. Okay, so now I will be deep diving into the Caduceus. This will be an interesting exploration, I guess, of the mechanics of the Caduceus, how it's formed, how it runs. And it's especially important to talk about it right now because right now Caduceus is being promoted as an emblem of health, good health. So it's known as the symbol of medicine, although it's sometimes confused with the staff of Asclepius, because Asclepius has 1 snake, not 2, wrapped around the staff, which tends to more accurately depict medicine and health around the world. But sometimes the Caduceus is also associated with medicine, health, and pharmacy, depicting an image of 2 serpents wrapped around a staff with wings. It may seem ironical that destructive creatures like snakes are used to represent a healing purpose. However, supposedly there is a history behind it and the symbolism of the two snakes. So the Caduceus is primarily associated with her mistress Megismus, who is a Greek god known for being messenger, a guider of souls, protector of merchants, of shepherds, of gamblers, liars and thieves. The symbol consists of a short rod entwined by two serpents and topped up with a pair of wings, embodying the diverse and dynamic attributes, supposedly, of Hermes. These are just all what doing research online does. Like, just go to Google, search it up. This is where this information is from. According to the myth, the Caduceus actually originated in a specific episode involving Hermes. And how it goes is, one day while traveling, Hermes came across two serpents entangled in a violent conflict. The serpents locked in battle. It's a symbol of discord and chaos. Observing their strife, Hermes sought to bring peace between them. With a simple yet profound gesture, he threw his rod between them as a mediator would step into a conflict. And the serpents, rather than continuing their fight, they wrapped themselves around the rod in a double helix formation, and their fighting just ceased. All of it stopped. The act not only separated them, but transformed their aggression into dynamic balance, creating a new symbol of harmony and equilibrium. The wings at the top of the rod signify the divine nature of intervention and elevation of the solution from earthly disputes to heavenly peace. This transformative moment in mythology conveys deep symbolic meanings. The serpents traditionally symbolize wisdom, renewal, healing abilities, because the snake has the ability to shed the skin and renew itself. Here, two snakes represent dual force of nature and life. Their harmonious entanglement around the rod, which itself symbolizes authority and control, visually captures the balance between these forces. That depiction illustrates the principle that through wise intervention and diplomatic action, balance and harmony can be achieved, transforming destructive energy into a constructive outcome. Okay, so that sounds all right, but that's not the true story of the Caduceus. That's a myth. That's why it's depicted as a myth. Okay, in alchemy, the intertwined serpents symbolize fertility. Practitioners of the Hermetic arts and alchemists believe that the Caduceus symbolize 4 elements: the wings of the air, the movement of serpents for the water, the snakes for the fire, the rod for the earth. It also shows a physical and spiritual connection between masculine and feminine forces. Symbolizing fertility and also the concept of yin-yang, the Caduceus became a symbol of alchemy and pharmacy in medieval Europe. Okay, sounds okay. In tarot, the Caduceus symbol represents harmony and balance. So the 2 serpents are entwined, reminding us that even opposites are unified in some way. The symbol shows the importance of balancing dualities like sun, moon, good, evil, light, dark, good, evil, life and death. Today, the Caduceus is accepted as a representation of healing and medicine. It can be seen on hospital coats, uniforms, pins. Sometimes the Caduceus is used as a symbol of identification for healthcare workers, with their initials incorporated into the symbol, be it doctors, nurses, emergency medical technicians. It's a symbol of medicine. The root of medicine or medicate means attention, which is also the root of meditation. Thus, we have attending physicians we pay attention to in meditation. Hypnosis, not meditation. More likely. The Caduceus is a winged staff with 2 serpents and is carried by Greek god Hermes, who's said to be the messenger of the gods. Together, Ida and Pingala form the snakes of the Caduceus, while Sushumna is the middle, forms a staff. The snakes intersect at the chakras, as do the nadis, at the Ajna chakra, which is here, the third eye, between the eyebrows. There's 2 petals, one on either side, just as there are 2 wings at the top of the Caduceus. Thus, the Caduceus is a symbol of the entire system of Kundalini Shakti. Yoga. In yoga system, which is an essential and an integral part of the Vedantic texts, the Caduceus is also part of the teachings. It's not something I teach personally. I teach yoga, physical yoga, for mental health, but I don't teach the Caduceus, okay? So just because a system has been infiltrated doesn't mean we have to discard the whole system. Like, I don't teach religious, anything that is religious distortions, anything that worshipping a god, anything that's giving power to something outside of us. I don't teach the Caduceus. There's a lot of things that are good in the system itself, but there's a lot of infiltration too. So I just want to make that clear, because I don't keep it a secret that I actually am a yoga teacher. And so I'm very an open book, and I mention that everywhere. I don't have to stop doing yoga just because I know about the infiltration. If you can see if you can read between the lines, you can avoid those traps, and you can just take the things that work for you. And it's been great for my body, for my mind, and for others, because it's a system that fosters a unification of the self with other parts. So it's a return to that innocence, that purity, that form that we once were. So I see it very aligned to the system of the freedom teachings. In many ways it's not. It's like you can see the distortions, but in many ways it is, because it takes you back to the self, journey through the self to the self. The Caduceus in the Vedantic, yoga system is essentially part of the Vedantic texts, which are part of the Upanishads. The Caduceus is a symbol of the entire system of Kundalini Shakti. It's represented with 2 heads representing Ida and Pingala nadis. They're 2 channels of flowing river current of energies that intersect with the chakras in the physical body, that runs through the body and organs, representing 2 distinct coiled snakes, one on the left, one on the right, wrapping around a rod, and runs through the central body channel of the human body, intersecting the physical chakras with dual heads resembling horns. By the way, a lot of people don't see it, but I see it. It's resembling 2 horns at the end, meeting at either the third eye or the nostrils, or that space here between third eye and the nostrils, the back of the nostrils. It goes through the nostrils, and it's here between the eyes. The Caduceus goes back to Hermeticism and has infiltrated Vedanta system, although the representation sometimes can vary between one text and another. But the visual similarities are there between Caduceus and the way Kundalini energy is depicted. It's very striking, the similarities. The twin serpents of the Caduceus mirror the dual nature of Kundalini, which is often described as twinning upwards in a helical pattern. So like that helical pattern, similar to serpents wrapping around Hermes' staff. This parallel extends to the wings at the top of the Caduceus, akin to like the ultimate liberation and expansion and freedom from attachments and freedom from duality. And this is said to occur when Kundalini reaches the higher chakras, symbolizing spiritual awakening, freedom, and enlightenment. The staff at the center of the caduceus represents the spinal column, which is the pathway for the Kundalini to travel. And the energy of which is dormant, it lays in the base of the spine. And it's said to awaken when the yogi has performed certain breathing and techniques. And it's also said to be like something that would happen when divine will wants it to happen. It's not like you can just say, okay, today I'm activating Kundalini. It activates, it just wakes up. It's a powerful, powerful force. It rises up powerfully in a serpentine fashion. It's called the serpent fire. It's part of the esoteric yogic practices, but this process is very dangerous as a yogi teacher. Not in the traditional sense, because like I said, I've left behind like maybe 60% of the teachings, and what I've kept is aligned with what we do now, what we stand for, and safe practices mainly. That's the core of it. It has to be safe practice. We have to be sure it's a safe practice for us and others. So the process of spontaneous awakening of the Kundalini current is very dangerous that way. But what they believe in, the yogis or the Vedantic system, is that this is ultimately resulting in moksha. Moksha is liberation from the cycle of incarnation. They believe once you get to Kundalini awakened, which in freedom teaching that translates to only current 7 to 9, not 12. So you're not getting to the 12th dimension, you're getting 7 to 9, realm of the archangels. It's not like you've gone all the way to 12. What we're doing in freedom teachings now is we're going all the way toward 12 DNA strand potential activation. So anyway, the word moksha means liberation from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. So this is what is represented, or said to be represented, in the Caduceus or the staff of Hermes. Of course, what they don't tell us is that the spinal column is infiltrated through the nervous system and vagus nerve and hijacked of its organic quality, just like the rod and staff was stolen and used to create destruction on earth. In this segment, in this part 2, I'm going to make some interesting connections and observations, and I want to go into depth. I want you to see the whole picture the way I see it, and most of you do anyway. But since I'm on this topic, I want to go a little bit deeper. There's more examples that I want to discuss. There's an interesting one. You've all heard, maybe you've heard of Theosophical Society. There was a lady, Helena Blavatsky, the author of The Voice of Silence. She authored that in 1888. 888. Okay, interesting. And she was an occultist and a co-founder of the Theosophical Society. She states in The Voice of Silence, okay, she makes a statement in The Voice of Silence, which is the book that she authored in 1888, and I'm quoting here: "The astral region, the psychic world of supersensuous perceptions and of deceptive sights, the world of mediums. It is the great astral serpent of Eliphas Levi. No blossom plucked in those regions has ever yet been brought down on earth without its serpent coiled around the stem. It is the world of the great illusion." Eliphas Levi is a prominent writer of over 20 books in occult, in magic, Kabbalah, alchemical studies, occultism, writer of transcendental magic that has an image of Baphomet, and a Caduceus on its belly, on the book cover, whom Blavatsky was greatly influenced by. So this is the work of two prominent figures considered the father and the mother of occult and chaos magic and possibly necromancy, which is invoking the dead. I'm not sure about this last one, but it's quite possible given that their lord is Sanata Kumara, which is an anagram for Satan. And in Blavatsky's own words, in The Secret Doctrine, she says, and I quote again, Satan, the father of spiritual humanity, the serpent of Genesis, and the true creator and benefactor. End of quote. And in another quote, she says, I quote, Satan, the enemy of God, is in reality the supreme divine spirit. Unquote. So this is where the problem started for our, New Age and the last 100 years, 150 years or whatever. That's where it comes from, primarily. People like these occultists that have pushed this agenda forward. This theosophical society is built around the Caduceus serpent teachings. The core of the teachings actually revolve around a supposed lord called Sanata Kumara descending via Venus with his 24 divine beings or Venetians, came here to assist the divine plan to lift up humanity. This is supposedly their mission. And we all know Venus is Lucifer, on a side note. So Sanata Kumara is called the king of the world and the archetype of the heavenly man on earth. In the Bible, he is referred to as the Ancient One. His followers believe that in him we live and move and have our being, and none of us can pass beyond the radius of his aura, Sanata Kumara. He is considered the Hierophant by our rites. He is believed to be so pure and sublime that he cannot descend to a dense physical plane. He stays in the second ether which surrounds the earth. He lives in a place in the etheric plane. It's called Magnolia near the desert Gobi, and which is called Shambhala. So Shambhala is invisible for the normal eyes, but visible for people who've gained etheric vision. From there, he pervades all over the White Lodge of Masters and holds in his hand the reins of the inner government. He watches over the evolution of men and devas on this planet. It is believed to invoke Sanata Kumara, invoking his presence and visualizing him during full moon days helps to align our personal desires with the divine plan and to restructure our desire body. And during Taurus full moon, notice here Taurus, the horns sign, the master of hierarchy aligns with Sanata Kumara and receives the seed thought for the year. And Sanata Kumara is believed to abide in the heart in the astral. Sanata Kumara and his team of collaborators show the way. He is regarded as the highest teacher who keeps the door to the higher worlds open. These beings stand at the door. He and his crew are the gatekeepers of the astral. And does this remind you maybe of Anubis, the gatekeeper of the underworld? Although Kumara is not from the underworld, but similar concept. It's all to do with gatekeeping. Interestingly, another key Theosophical Society member, Alice Bailey, also taught the way to Lucifer and the first to use the term New Age, also authored 24 books on esoteric philosophy. The 24 books of Alice Bailey formed second series of 3 after Blavatsky, The Secret Doctrine, which are intended as preliminary writings for the New Age, also known as the Age of Aquarius. Her and her husband, listen to this, established Lucis Trust. Lucis Trust. Considered a most influential figure in the New Age movement. Note the number 24, it goes back to the 24, the 2 times 12, and the inversion of the sacred number. So why am I mentioning this? Let's make some connections. The first to turn New Age and most influential figures in the New Age movement established as solid members of Theosophical Society, a society that glorifies the King of Babylon, aka Lucifer, aka Shining One, aka Morning Star, aka Venus. This society produced a magazine called Lucifer for 10 years. The magazine kept coming out for 10 years, so it wasn't an accident. Started in September 1987. We can see the connection between New Age teachings and Theosophical Society and esoteric and occult schools and its offshoots. This is how the Caduceus is being made a thing behind the occult language, passed on as secret science. Essentially, they too are falling in the illusion of secrecy because following secret occult sciences is desirable. It's desirable. People like to belong to secret societies because it's like you feel special. It's an illusion of secrecy because following secret occult sciences makes people feel important and included. People like these have a strong hold by the Caduceus. They're initiating people into reversal dogma. I will make another deeper connection here between the Caduceus and the fallen races that promote the Caduceus, otherwise known as duality game. Let's look at the tabernacle. Understand the tabernacle, the place in Israel where the place of Israel learned the way to eternal life, originally came from Solomon. Entered in the tabernacle, you enter from the east side, and on the outer side of the tabernacle is a sacrifice altar where burnt sacrifices are made to the Lord, symbolizing the suffering and death of the Savior on the cross. On the center of the second room, there's a room called the Holy of Holies room, and there is the Ark of the Covenant, considered the most sacred object in the tabernacle. And inside, Aaron's rod, a bowl of manna, stone tablets, and a law given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Disturbing thing is when the priest enters the room once a year on the Day of Atonement, he has to sprinkle blood from the sacrifice on the mercy seat as part of the ceremony, symbolizing that through the blood of the Lamb of God, Israel obtained mercy and the opportunity to once again live in God's presence. The outer courtyard represents coming to the Savior from out of the world. The holy place represents living by the Spirit in this fallen world, and through obedience, one can return to presence of the Father in heaven. Not sure if this is a coincidence or not. I know it's not a coincidence, but maybe you think otherwise. But the Scottish Rites in Freemasonry degrees, number 22, is the Knight of the Royal Axe. 23 is called the Chief of the Tabernacle. 24 is the Prince of the Tabernacle. 25, the Knight of the Brazen Serpent. 26 is Prince of Mercy. 27, Commander of the Temple. 28, Knight of the Sun. 29 is Knight of St. Andrew. 30 is Knight of Kadosh. 34, first degree, is Inspector, Inquisitor. They are the secret police and intelligence agents. 32nd degree is the Master of the Royal Secret, and 33rd are the Master Masons associated with spiritual awareness and enlightenment, considered the illuminated ones. They occupy positions like presidents, bankers, teachers, writers, astronauts, etc. Examples are Buzz Aldrin, Benjamin Franklin, Winston Churchill, Franklin Roosevelt, George Washington, Harry Truman, Manly Hall, Mozart. These are symbols. They're always using symbols. These symbols are to recognize one another. Some of their famous symbols, the square, the compass, represents morality and integrity and brotherly love. The all-seeing eye symbolizes God's watchful eye over mankind. Sun and moon represent cycles of birth and death. The pentagram represents balance in nature, 5. And the double-headed eagle represents strength and vigilance. That's what they say they represent. Now you have the Boaz and Yakim. They're the 2 pillars that you see in tarot cards. They say it's feminine and masculine, but they actually relate to Hermes and Aphrodite. Combine the 2 becomes hermaphrodite. They relate to the rod and the staff. They stole from the Christics, the rod and the staff. They denote duality, not the Christic system that built on a trine formula of 3. The 2 sides of the compass inverting the Merkaba and all the seeing eye on the top of the pyramid. Another connection I made is a war memorial in South Australia. This is just an example, not so much a connection, but there you find, and there's many of these, but this one's not probably the closest to me than all the others. You find in South Australia, there's a memorial with the face of the statue representing an angel of duty, holding an upright sword and calling young people to war and sacrifice. The reversed face represents the angel of compassion, holding a sheathed sword and a body of a dead youth, under which is the fountain of compassion, representing continuous flow of memories. So this is how duality plays out. The Ouroboros, the Caduceus, the 2 snakes suffocating that wrap around the central column, suffocating the central nervous system, which is the vagus nerve. Tough game. It's a continuous ebb and flow between first and second snake. They're entwined around each other, holding the staff prisoner. That's what we are. If you're at the mercy of these factions that rule over you and you give your power, that's what you become. You become the prisoner. So you can see clearly here there's an agenda behind dualistic programming. Caduceus on one hand, Ouroboros on another. They're basically the same thing. Okay, now I will deep dive into Keylontic science interpretation of the Caduceus and the vagus nerve. You will begin to piece things together and understand that there is the mainstream narrative and there's that story. And then you have the guardian teachings, which makes so much sense, much more sense. And it feels like it's the truth. You just know. So you can piece things together. You just give it some thought, sit with it and let it sink and see what happens. The Caduceus beast system, which was brought initially by the Budara and the United Intruder Resistance in the Orion Wars in 570 million years ago, it's actually, Caduceus is brought here. It's an inorganic physical manifestation of a reversal system. Not the Caduceus, sorry, the vagus nerve is an inorganic physical manifestation of the reversal system. The Caduceus, it's essentially a network of reversed energy mechanics based on Fibonacci and death Merkaba mechanics. So our axiotonal lines, they're supposed to be running spirit energy, not reversed electrical particles, antiparticles. However, due to the Caduceus, axiotonal lines of the body are running on reverse Merkaba mechanics, creating a harness field. In other words, an energy sucking device to feed off. So you become the energy sucking device if you are in that Caduceus configuration. We're naturally supposed to have 12 flows, organic flows of axiotonals. Instead, we have 11th and 12th wrapped up in the middle. And then there are the seals that go in there too, that control the flow of the chakras, and not in a good way. In other words, the vagus nerve replaced our 11th and 12th fire chambers. Not just 11, it's 11 and 12. So you can't access the primal light fields. So that caused a huge deliberate mutation. The Caduceus flow sucks energy of the Alurian chambers, which are the natural structures of the Ager body. Also runs a daisy of death, what is wrongly called the sacred flower of life. It's not, it's a daisy of death. This happens with the planet too. This is why our atoms are manifesting as metatronic atoms. We become metatronized at day 6 in the fetus because the metatronic mathematical formula, codes, and reversal mechanics are keyed into everything, all the codes on this planet. Fire codes in the DNA genetic alphabet braid the DNA strands from the nucleotide chemicals, which activate when the Navajo flows in the Alurian chambers, which is another word for spirit body. When it's not compromised by Caduceus net structure. So the Navajo flows normal through the Alurian chambers. And that makes the spirit body joined to the light body and fetal integration happens. And then you have beautiful Christic body, beautiful being who becomes enlightened at the age of 12 or soul integrated. But you don't have that. We don't run that way because that's being compromised by the Caduceus structure. And the vagus nerve is actually the physical manifestation of the Caduceus convoluting awareness and the way we express our thoughts and emotions, and worse, accelerating mind control manifestation as well as the process of death of the human body. So vagus nerve is killing us, not nourishing us. It's not it's not organic. The organic are the 11 and 12 external lines, if they were flowing normal into the Navajo flows, Alurian chambers, generating a connection between spirit body, light body, and source. That's not happening. What's happening is Caduceus interference, vagus nerve took over, suffocated the body, the central nervous system, wrapped around 11 and 12 external lines, preventing prana from flowing through properly in the right dosages to the right places in the right amounts. The technique that is offered in the Christic teachings is or allows the functioning to be reclaimed to the vagus nerve, because you can't just unplug it. So it's there, it's got a physical manifestations, it's a tangible thing too. And it just can't be severed from the body. You just can't plug it out. It's because, but what we can do is energetically suffocate it. If successfully mutated, it will allow the interface and transmutation of the energies that are harmful to become something good that works, in symbiosis with the body, the Christic body. So in essence, what we're facing is a huge breach in the indigo shield as a result of hijacked indigos, where miasmas and entities hacking that miasma in the body are able to possess the indigo and use higher code to reverse the shields so the FAs can actually do their work on their Templar mission conquest to get in through the inner echo worlds at the center point 0 of the Vecca system and breach Eartha. Eartha is ascended Earth. Indigos are hacked via the Caduceus beast system. New Age is forever promoting teachings of the Caduceus to give energy to the Caduceus, to activate, to bring the Kundalini up and activate, and it's not good. These are reversal system techniques and mechanics. And so, yeah, it's the Caduceus network's been infiltrating us since the electrical wars, where we had to be reseeded. So therefore, our biological forms are not the same as they were before when we were originally seeded here on Particum Earth in around 25 million years ago, after being evacuated from parallel antiparticle Earth through the Polarian Gate system. Another thing is when these what happens if the external lines are blocked? So we have external lines blocked right now. That means we can't run natural spirit hydrolase code in the body. Because of that epigenetic hacking via the vagus nerve, sending signals to the myelin sheath, which goes into the spinal column nervous system, instructing the DNA how it should behave. So we have minds and thoughts and emotions and things that are controlling us basically via the vagus nerve instead of us reining it in where it's being controlled by it. The other thing the Caduceus does, it siphons energy of the Navajo natural flow passages. So it does that it does that to the planet so that it siphons the planet's energies, so they can kill the planet more quickly, because anything that's dead or on its way to finite, to being dead, they take it and they consume it, and it adds to their finite system. So the Caduceus is using these reversals to activate the omega kill, telling the body to kill itself. This is why we die. Average lifespan maybe 60 now. After 2020, it's like 50, 40. To kill itself through nervous system reprogramming, basically. This is the 911 Abaddon apocalypse agenda, which can be prevented if you take back the grid's nervous system through LTRs, which is linguistic template reprogramming, and flame body activations. I'm going to talk about flame body activations when I offer healing solutions, so stay tuned for that one. It's the most important part in all this. So the vagus nerves mutates the way we emote, the way we express emotions and thoughts. Endoplasm, in fact, in the spleen, produces liquid emotions, was originally processed through the brain differently via a process of solar symbiosis, where before we accumulated the artificial defect of the vagus nerve in the body. So through symbiosis with the sun, we would process emotions in the brain, not in the spleen. Now, this is different. This is where endoplasm of emotion sparks into thermoplasm, generating congruent thought aligned to the emotion. These emotions or thoughts are interfered with by the net software and inorganic program. So in other words, we're always magnets to other people's emotions and thoughts in their field. So when you think that, oh, I am this, or I am this thing, it's a thought and it's something that you're identifying with, and it could be someone else's thought, someone else's emotion that you're identifying with. Have you ever walked into a place where you instantly felt, you walked into a place, you're feeling just neutral, you're just normal and present and conscious, and you walk into a place, and as soon as you step your foot in the door, instantly you feel sad or down or negative. Instantly, it's just something that goes and it just takes over, and it's like you can't stop it. It's like you can't stop. That happens to my daughter too, who's an Indigo 3, and then she goes into this extreme polarity where she goes, oh, and this last minute I was happy, I was joyful, I was present, and then now I'm in tears. My nervous system's just completely taken over, and she actually knows it. She says, oh, I'm feeling like I'm possessed now. So, and then we do this thing where we come back, do the shield, do D12, Maharic shield, and then she's like normal again. A little bit of breathing techniques as well. But that's the kind of interference we get from day to day, all the time. Thoughts, emotions are interfered with. They come from the net software and inorganic pentagram radial electrostatic body. that influences his emotions and thoughts through miasma implants to stop thoughts from evolving and stay in the duality software. So this is why we must heal. Like they say, it's not our fault that we got hurt, but it's our responsibility to heal. What happens when we heal? What things change when we heal? When healed of the net and the shadow issues, the D3 ego entering into fourth DNA strand, because as you know now, we are entering the fourth DNA strand activation. The D3 ego on the mental plane eventually learns to consciously shift its consciousness by decision, by will, not spontaneously, not like by accident, but by decision. It shifts to other fields of consciousness, even while maintaining an active focus in the current dimension. So it could be here, and then my mind will just tick, and then separates and then goes into D4 or 4th DNA strand, a shift of consciousness, and it's by decision. So my consciousness goes elsewhere. You can also say it's like a form of astral projection, but it's natural projection, and it's a natural activation of DNA strand 4. It begins the process of awakening reincarnational memory. And I can't wait for that to come online, because I'm already starting to see little bits of when I was in Atlantis and Half Mermaid, and these things are starting to come back, and I know they're real. I know they are. There's no falsity in them. Some can be false. Some dreams are take you into like fantasies and things like that. But once you start activating and doing the correct flame bodies techniques, you actually start to awaken to your organic reincarnation memory, and you begin interacting with other simultaneous experiences and expressions of self, communicating with other life forms, coexisting in other space-time vectors. It's a beautiful thing. What that means is also you won't need as much sleep as you did before. The need for sleep will, because you don't need to biologically, you're not killing your biology, your physical body, that you have to sleep it off and you have to regenerate every day. You're not killing your biological body anymore. And what happens is you don't need to sleep or sleep as much, and the seeming barriers or the veils between ego and other stations of consciousness out there will progressively start to dissolve as the ego and the higher self together work to heal the shadow, transcend the net, and clear subconscious chaotic patterns from DNA template. Note something, that all Earth species presently carry the shadow net genetic distortion. This is not something just limited to some people. Everyone has a shadow. The ease and speed with which it can be done depends entirely on the level of DNA. Of course, DNA activation, integrity, template integrity held by each individual. So, in other words, the more shadow distortions there are to clear, the longer it will take to create coherent, clear expansion of consciousness, our human consciousness, who, from the fallen angelic races who have been using mind control, astral tagging, all sorts of things to infiltrate our biosystems. They basically are controllers of our shadow self, DNA template distortions, and the net fields. They interface with us through those shadows. They contrive dreams or astral experiences, false memories as well. So, okay, false memories, it's a big one, because have you ever had a memory, where it's like a strong memory, but then again, it's not. It's like, hang on, did I make it up, or was it a real memory? Like, I can't even remember if it's actually I was there once upon a time and it happened, what had happened, and it's a clear date and time and you can see yourself there and everything, or was it made up? that's what false memories are. They make you doubt whether you actually, they're not like, oh yeah, definitely I was there and I felt it and my emotions and everything. I know I was present at the time. It's not like that. It's just like, did it really happen to me? Was it, I don't even, I don't even know. I'm a little bit, like, a little bit, yeah, unclear about that. I don't have so much clarity about it. This could be a false memory. I'm not saying that all are, but that could be. There's also spiritual misguidance where you get interference from another entity and you're told to do something, it turns out something else. Or like when you get numbers that align, like 111, 333, whatever, some take it as, oh, angels are telling me to do it. Oh, I must go and invest in Bitcoin and spend $50,000 because I seen 111, and they put it all there and then it's gone the next day. Sad, but like that's spiritual misguidance because of certain projections from the psyche, but they're really coming from the shadow body. Such tactics are very common. They're used to block natural communication between you and high dimensional spiritual identities by distracting the ego, the mind, with fantasy dramas while harnessing the D3 mental body from the density 1 void before it initiates expansion into the radial body field, because that's what we want. We want to harness expansion into radial body field, which is your second body, that density. So before it does that, it starts to send projections and things in order to keep you locked into that mental state, in a false state. So we have Maharic, we have Node, vector technologies combined with appropriately applied creative visualizations, mental affirmations, and spiritual meditations. They're the fastest and most effective methods of creating natural, safe expansion of consciousness. Eventually, the ego, dimension 1, 2, 3, that density 1 mental ego, eventually it recognizes that thinking, imagining, and daydreaming are actually actions in conscious holographic creation. So that's when you're going to start activating 4. You begin to realize the nature of the holographic creation around you. So yeah, just be aware of that. And now I'm just watching the time here constantly. That's why I keep looking up. We have now the most important part of this talk is to offer healing solutions and inner technologies. The main thing with healing technologies, is to run D12 frequencies to help your template recode and heal, and activating your original fire letter codes. This will literally burst the Metatronic bubble and connect you to the Ita-Ur consciousness of the Aja source. So this is your innermost seed atom that's within you, that's Christic, that doesn't change, that can't be manipulated. It's the Ita-Ur consciousness in the Aja body. This is what you need to do, is you start activating or running your D12 frequencies, doing the Maharic seal. Now, there's a list of healing techniques, which I will go through them. We have, of course, number one, we have the Veka, Eka, Skepta, Rushe pillars. If you heard of Rushe pillars, they're all technologies which look like codes and things, which are able to heal, taking back our axiotonal line anatomy so we can realign with the Ilom Iradoina spirit body. That's our spirit body that gets taken over or separated from us. So when we run those technologies, we're reuniting with our spirit body. The Hierophant, the D11 combined with the D12 frequencies become a mathematical code for the Merkaba star, the organic Merkaba Christic star, in basic Maharic seal and liquid light cleanse techniques. Starts the process of uncoiling the serpents, controlling the chakras and the crystal seals in the Metatronic mind, Metatronic body. so that we can reconnect to authentic Christic and the Eucharist spirit, and not the artificial flame of the Baphomet lunar network. So 1. 2 is to remove the Metatronic heart of Anubis with Eros and Amaria flame activations. If you have not purged the black hearts, and more specifically the heart of Anubis, you're going to be an apartheid, quartered to Metatronic hibernation zones, shadow dancer, wizardrak, black hole entities, and your own AI phantom self that was cloned from the Rashalea Codex in Orion by the Azazel Fallen collectives who do the clones and stuff. You're going to be an apartheid for them. So you have to clear the hearts of Anubis, or Metatronic black hearts. There's 4, but especially the heart of Anubis. The third thing we've got to do is the LTRs, linguistic, sorry. I always say language, linguistic, same thing. Template reprogramming or recoding. The flame body activation techniques, once again, protect from the Caduceus beast system, designed to adjust your thoughts and neural networks through the vagus nerve and axiotonal infiltration so that you can become a magenta dark avatar. Another important thing to do, that's number 4, is to take your power back so you can't be mind hacked and mind controlled. By taking your power and not giving your creative energy away to saviors or to sides, we can not only build better systems for the people here, but also we'll be running our own hydrolase creativity currents to override AI currents of machine learning. Number 5, freedom techniques teachings provide Caduceus unwinding technique. Why? Because like I said, 99% of New Age practices are wired into the Caduceus network and religion, New Age, all of it, and social media, Facebook, etc. If you're unconscious and constantly giving your energy into it, you're giving your energy into the Caduceus. So the uncoiling, I'm getting tired now, the uncoiling technique, the Caduceus, is something that I've done before and I'm going to do again and again, because it feels so good. It feels like you're getting like an internal shower, washing out the impurities. It feels like that. And by the way, the Caduceus technique will also be provided as part of the sequence in our journal guidebook, which will be available for purchase by the end of the month. I want to make it clear that we're not selling the techniques, we're selling the journal which has been created by us. It's taken months of work to create it, so this is what we're selling. The techniques are provided for free with it. So we're not selling techniques. We don't sell other people's work. That belongs to the MCEO body of work. It's copyrighted, but under fair use, we can share that information and use it. What we're selling, and we have to ask for energy exchange for this, because it's a lot of energy put into it to create the sequence and to put it nicely, create this journal, which I'm going to be talking about in just a minute. Let me just finish the techniques, so I'll come back to that. Number 6 technique is a thing to do, or healing solution, is for the Omega kill switch. In order to undo that, we must activate Amaria flame body density level 5, integrating Ionic shield at the Akasha Aya and Eucharist body God worlds level into the Rishik shield D13 to 15. Now this may not make much sense now, but once you start doing the techniques, if you're doing self-learning, then it's a little bit harder. If someone else is guiding you who's done them and been there, then it's a little bit easier. So what we're providing as well is a little bit of that guidance too if you're stuck. But anyway, it does all it falls into place. It starts to make sense. So you start from the 1, then you go 2, 3. If you skip and want to do things too fast, then you're going to get overwhelmed. So anyway, the Maria Flame level 5s, they work for the Omega kill switch. These techniques are all in the journal. In the journal, we outline the correct sequence, not only techniques, but also the preliminary foundational work that one must do prior to engaging in flame body activation. You don't just jump to flame body. There's techniques that you've got to do. There's a certain time, there's a gap between certain ones, and you have to do them in that manner so they're effective. And so that brings me to the end of the segment and part 2. I really hope this information has been helpful. Always take what resonates, leave the rest. The most important thing you can do for yourself is stay connected with yourself and heal, because the how is available now. It's here. Setting time for practices and learning every day is so crucial. So that's the most important thing you can gift yourself, is healing. So that's it from me, wishing you the best, and this will probably be the last YouTube upload for the year. We would have done another one if we weren't working on the book, but we will be back very soon with new content. Please subscribe, please share content. Very important and very helpful for us right now. And the last thing is, please make a small contribution if you can, and just thanks button below, and just a small contribution if you like, if you want to, if you can. Again, stay connected. May you find ultimate freedom in this knowledge, and remember to check in regularly for the activation journal. Promise you won't regret it. Sending you loads of love and joy and health, and wishing you freedom, ultimate freedom, the year ahead from both of us here, Matt and I. Much love.
I am one with the cosmic mind. I am held gently at all times within the love of the original one, the true God of creation. I am strong and resolute in my calling. I hear the call of my sacred, original, divine self, my God self, leading me home. I am clear of mind and vision as the knowing of my God self flows through me at all times. I am in this moment fully embraced by my God self and its connection to the original God. I am at peace in the face of anger. I am calm in the face of chaos. I am filled with a glowing essence of divine love through which I am healed. I am the living expression of the sacred law of one. I am harmless yet powerful. I am humble yet knowing. I am the expression of eternal love, light, truth, and power. I carry the will of the original one through all of my moments, allowing the divine to touch others through me. I am whole now. I am peace now. I am wisdom now. I am divine love now. And so it is. Repetition of this tonal manifestation grid for a period of 3 consecutive weeks, repeated out loud, once in the morning upon waking and once before evening. Sleep will create a powerful grid shifting program that will assist you directly in spiritual integration process. This powerful exercise is very powerful morphogenetic programming grid to assist you in accelerating your spiritual evolution and multidimensional identity integration, while setting up multidimensional protection grids that will help you reverse the polarity of negative or harmful grid programming.